Your weak identity survives only because you keep listening to the voice that asks for permission instead of the voice that takes control. Most people think they lack confidence. That's not true. You don't lack confidence. You are protecting a weak identity that was trained to ask for permission. And until that identity dies, fear will always control your decisions. Watch carefully, because once you understand this, your hesitation will start to look strange to you. The weak identity is not really you. It was built slowly, through small moments that felt normal at the time. A teacher told you to stay quiet. A parent told you not to speak too much. Friends laughed when you shared an opinion. Over time, your mind learned one simple rule: stay safe, stay quiet, don't attract attention. Now this rule runs your behavior without you noticing it. You enter a room and your body becomes careful. You want to speak, but your mind says wait. You want to act, but your thoughts slow you down. You want to try, but fear appears first. This is not personality. This is conditioning. Think about a meeting at work. You have an idea. It is clear in your mind. You know it could help. But someone else starts speaking first. Then another person adds something, and suddenly your idea stays inside your head. The meeting ends, and later you realize someone else said something similar and got praise for it. Most people think this happens because they are shy, but the truth is different. The brain is trying to protect social safety. It wants approval. It wants acceptance. It wants to avoid embarrassment. So it creates hesitation as a shield. The problem is simple. Safety kills confidence. Confidence only grows when safety becomes less important than action. There is a reason this happens. The brain is designed to avoid rejection because rejection once meant danger. Long ago, being rejected by a group meant survival risk, so the mind learned to seek permission before acting. It checks every move. It asks silent questions. Is this safe? Will they accept me? Will I look stupid? This is the permission trap. You want to speak, but your mind asks permission. You want to try something new, but your mind asks permission. You want to express yourself, but your mind asks permission again. And every time you wait for permission, the weak identity grows stronger. Most people never escape this. They spend their whole life waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect confidence, the perfect feeling, but the moment never comes. Confidence never arrives, because confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. Write this in the comments. I stop asking for permission. Because the moment you stop asking, something changes inside your mind. You start acting differently. You start speaking without overthinking. You start moving without fear controlling every step. This is where Machiavelli's hidden brain hack appears. He understood something most people ignore. People respect certainty more than ability. A person who speaks with confidence is often trusted more than a person who speaks with hesitation. A person who moves decisively is seen as stronger than someone who keeps thinking. Look around in real life. You will see this everywhere. A less skilled person speaks boldly and gets attention. A less experienced person takes action and gets the opportunity. Meanwhile, a more capable person waits and loses the chance. This is not unfair. This is human behavior. The brain follows certainty. People trust movement. Society rewards action. The hidden brain hack is simple. Act first. Identity follows. Most people think identity creates action. But it is the opposite. Action creates identity. When you act confidently, even if you feel nervous, your brain starts adapting. It slowly accepts this new behavior as normal. Fear becomes weaker because action repeats again and again. At first, speaking feels uncomfortable. Then it feels manageable. Then it feels natural. Eventually, it feels automatic. This is how weak identity dies. Not through thinking. Not through motivation, through repeated action. Imagine someone speaking over you in a meeting. Before, you would stay quiet. Now you calmly say, "Let me finish." No anger, no fear, just calm control. The first time feels strange. The second time feels easier. The third time feels normal. This is how the brain rewires itself. Fear does not disappear because you think positively. Fear disappears because your brain gets used to bold behavior. Repetition kills hesitation. Action builds certainty. Most people don't notice this. They wait for confidence before acting. But confident people act before feeling ready. That is the difference. Fear slowly loses its power when action becomes automatic. The brain starts understanding that speaking is safe, acting is safe, expressing yourself is safe. And once safety is proven through experience, fear stops interfering. This creates a quiet transformation. You stop overthinking small decisions. You stop worrying about judgment. You stop replaying conversations in your head. Your mind becomes calmer because it no longer tries to protect a weak identity. Now a new identity starts forming, fearless but calm, not loud, not aggressive, just stable and controlled. Picture a situation where someone insults you in public. Before, you might react emotionally or feel hurt. Now you stay calm. You look at them, say nothing, and move on. Your silence creates pressure. Your calmness shows strength. People notice this. Unreactive people always look powerful, not because they try to dominate, but because they are not controlled by emotions. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't seek approval. They don't explain their worth. They simply exist with quiet certainty. This is real confidence, not loud talking, not forced energy, not fake motivation, just calm control over your actions and reactions. You think silence is weakness, but manipulators fear silence the most, because silence removes their control. If you don't react, they cannot influence you. If you don't seek approval, they cannot manipulate you. If you don't hesitate, they cannot stop you. This is the second perspective shift. Confidence is not about being fearless in public. It is about being free from internal permission. When your mind stops asking for approval, fear loses its power. When fear loses its power, your behavior becomes stronger. When your behavior becomes stronger, your identity changes automatically. This is how transformation happens quietly. You walk differently. You speak less, but with clarity. You think less about judgment and more about action. You stop trying to be liked and start focusing on being effective. And something interesting happens. People begin to treat you differently. They listen more. They interrupt less. They respect your space. Not because you demand it, but because your identity signals strength. Write this in the comments. I control my identity. Because this is the real brain hack, not motivation, not tricks. Just control over your actions without waiting for permission. The moment you stop asking for approval, your weak identity collapses. The moment you start acting with calm certainty, your fearless identity appears. This is the final realization. Confidence is not something you build. It is something you uncover by removing hesitation. Weak identity survives on fear, approval, and overthinking. Strong identity survives on action, calmness, and control. So the real question is simple. When your mind tells you to wait, will you listen? Or will you move anyway and let your identity evolve through action? Because the moment you act without asking for permission, your brain rewires itself. The moment your brain rewires itself, fear loses its grip. And the moment fear loses its grip, you become someone who cannot be easily controlled. If you are building a calm and fearless mind, subscribe to Ilu Codex. Understand this clearly. Weak identity is not your nature. It is a habit. And habits can be destroyed. Replace hesitation with action. Replace fear with movement. Replace approval-seeking with quiet control. The moment you stop asking for permission, their influence disappears. And the moment their influence disappears, your confidence becomes unshakable.